Part 4. All right, we got a lot going on in today's video. We're going to show you a few things about what we need to do to get one set of limbs glued up. A lot of prep work has to happen. Going to go over the air hose, set up, that sort of thing. So hit that like and subscribe, stay tuned. Okay, there's our fire hose. Every kid wants to play with the fire hose, right? And this was in the bag that I didn't know what it was, but these are the stuff you need to basically seal up that fire hose with instructions. And there we go. But basically, we're going to take these ends, stick them in the fire hose, and then put a clamp around this concave part right here, and then put a clamp around this. And that's the one butt end, if you will. And the other one's going to do the same thing. Get the clamps on here, and there's where we're going to pump air into it. So basically, that's kind of what it looks like on one end. Tighten down. There's our other end that we'll fill the air in. All right, got a tire pump, got the hose, got the sink filled up, and I got a little tire gauge here to test it out with us. So we're above 60. All right, I got the sink filled up. We're just checking for air leaks. Doesn't appear that I got any leaks coming off of this side. That's good. Side 2. Get a little sugar right here. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, I think we're good here too. Awesome. Got a number of things going on here. Gonna get ready to glue up the first limb today. And so I've got the 2 pieces of fiberglass, gonna be the 2 outside pieces. Then I'm gonna have my parallel and my taper. And then we've got the one wedge that's gonna go in there. And basically it's gonna go glass, it's gonna go taper, it's gonna go wedge, parallel, and the top piece of glass is how it's gonna glue up. So number of things we're gonna do, instructions tell us to basically take the laminations, go ahead and put them in the oven, preheat the oven for half hour. And so we're gonna do that. Then once that, leave the oven on, pull these out, and then we're basically gonna start prepping them, which is gonna do a number of steps. We're gonna put some tape on the clear side of the glass. It's gonna be on the outside. I've got to get the mold ready. I've got it in the clamps, but I need to put paste wax over this whole thing and all this stuff, plus the pressure strip. We're gonna put paste wax on that to get all that ready. So we're gonna do a lot of prep work while this stuff is in the mold, but that's basically what we're gonna do and see how easy or difficult this is. With the laminations in there. Good. Plug in. All right, we're gonna throw this on. Got it on here. Watch the tip. All right, so while the oven's preheating, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna trip on the cord and pull it out. Okay, no, we're not gonna do that. Next thing we're gonna do is get the mold, and we're gonna put some paste finishing wax on it. We're gonna wipe that all down. It said every part of the mold gets covered in that. Wax the whole thing down here. I want you to wax every piece of your mold. So what they do say in the video is that they want you to wax every bit of this mold, including all the metal hardware and everything. So we're going to do that as well. This is all to keep, I guess, the epoxy from sticking as it oozes out. That's my thinking anyway. Everything's waxed up. We need to cover this with saran wrap now at this point. All right, got the saran wrap on here. All right, we hit temp and basically the lights just went out. Thermostat kicked in. It's been about a half hour now, getting everything prepped up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these lambs out and let them come to room temperature. All right, at this point, since I'm making a 58-inch takedown recurve, the instructions are to basically cut these to 28 inches. So when you cut them, make sure, because one of these is tapered. One's a parallel, which means it's the same thickness all the way down. The other one is parallel, or tapered rather, so it's thicker on one end. So make sure you don't cut the thicker end, cut the thinner end when you cut that down. So I've got the 4 pieces of 28 inches. And now we're gonna put tape on the smooth side of the fiberglass lamb. So we're gonna do that next. Now, you can see here I've got some overlap. It's 2-inch tape, and I'm doing 1 3/4 lamb, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I've got the tape on here. They gave me 2-inch tape, but again, I'm doing 1 3/4 inch wide limbs. So I think things might go more exactly to the instructions and to the video because they did everything with 2-inch limbs. So just keep that in mind from the form, the mold, everything. So what I did is I trimmed the tape with a little razor blade to get it down to the size of the limbs here. And basically now we need to draw a center line down both of these limbs here. And so since I am doing 1 3/4 inch limbs, my center line is going to be 7/8. So I'm going to get 7/8 marked on here. Try to be very careful, very exact, because your center line is very important on this. All right, mark it here. Mark it down here. Fiberglass laminations. And lay this from line to line, like such. Make sure my pencil line is going to be, yeah, perfect, okay. And mark this down here. I think it's going to be important later on. All right, we're going to do that to the next limb as well. So when you're ready, now tape side's down because these are the glue surfaces, the rougher side. So you think about this, right? Because this is clear glass, right? So when we're done, this is going to get sanded a little bit, and the rough surface is going to kind of disappear. It's going to be glass, see through to the wood for you. So you got to kind of think about, and you glue up, and you really want to step this out and do this slow. At least I am, because I'm a little nervous about getting it all wrong. But when you look at these laminations, you know, kind of look at it. Which side do you want to have as the side that's going to show through? Because that's the side that's going to go down on the glass, okay? Now, I will tell you this. If you look at this piece of wood here, it's curved. That was because it was put in the heat oven. These were not curved at all prior to going into the heat oven for the first part. But think about how you want to do it. And you got to remember the flow of things. I'm kind of getting through my head that I'm going to put glue on these lambs. Whichever face surface I want to the outside, I'm going to put that on a lamb. This is the tapered lamb. This is the parallel lamb. Whichever surface I want to the outside is going to go face down on that. So I'm going to get that glued in. I'm going to take the epoxy, the wedge piece. There's a flat piece of the wedge piece. That's going to go on your taper, okay? And then finally, you will take this piece, put it over, and glue it down on both of that. So we're going to get the epoxy mixed up. We're going to lay it in our press, and hopefully this will all work smoothly. All right, so I've kind of gone through this in my head several times, read these structures several times, kind of played this out. I've already laid them in the mold just to test it out earlier. I've decided this is the side that I want to face out on the belly of the bow. This is the side I want to face out on the front of the bow. So I'm going to put the glue here, 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 and here. I'm going to flip those over onto each piece, put the epoxy down, epoxy the wedge in, then lay it over this piece and take these two pieces now, lay them on top. Once that's together, we can get in the lamb. So I'm going to mix up the epoxy at this point. Hopefully it don't mess this up. That's that epoxy. Now they said that there's enough in this pint container to mix up enough to do the full bow, 2 limbs, and a riser with accent stripes. So, being the first time bowyer, he said you might use too much. So I'm starting with both limbs first so I get the limbs done. If I got to order more for the riser, I'm going to do that. But instructions on smooth on says equal parts. That's what I'm going to do. And so I've got 1 spoonful here, and it's supposed to fill up about half of a 6-ounce tuna fish can. But again, it's 4 years ago, and now these tuna fish cans come in 5 ounces. So that's what I'm shooting for here. Part A. My guess is I'm going to need to stir it more than that because I'm not at halfway point yet. All right, let's see how this goes here. Like I said, every piece of it needs to be covered. Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna use more than I need, probably. All right, so just one thing about after watching the Bingham's video and what I'm doing now, I will say that I know they did video editing, But I'm just gonna tell you, every step takes 10 times longer than what they show in the video. And that may be just because I don't have any experience at this. I don't know why, but that's just, it seems like everything's taking way longer. Every step of the way. So just plan on that. Every part of this needs to be shiny. Stuff does smell like bad shrimp. Make sure it goes all the way to the edge everywhere. Right enough to know that you gotta definitely want to make sure every piece of the surface is good. All right, that's that. Let's get this wood lamination. I feel like I'm okay. Take this now. Go ahead and lay it over this guy. Push down on that. Let that set for a minute. And I'm going to get the next piece of glass. Alright, onto the wedge. First thing I'm going to do is this bottom piece here, the bottom side of it, the long flat piece. It's going to go down first on our tapered wood lamination. And it's okay if you use too much, it's just going to go out the sides and may just be a bigger mess clean up afterwards, but I think everything that I've come across makes sure every bit of each surface is covered, that there's no dry spots. That's where you can get delamination to occur. All right, this is laying on. So I need to do that side a little bit too. Put this piece down now. On top of that, so next piece here. Okay, set that down there, get all that good. All right, so now I'm gonna take this set of laminations. Let's get this lined up again. That's one. All right, this goes on top like so. Alright, now we've already got our plastic wrap over there. So now we're going to take the whole glued up limb piece. Lay it down to the pin. Okay, just like so. Alright, then we're going to take our pressure strip. Going in to it. Maybe I should lay this on top before I bent this in there, maybe. Do that. Get all this lined up like so. Just lined up. So we're going to go down with it to the mark. Try to keep all these lined up here. This is kind of a tough job. They may look easy in the video, but it's not. It's way harder than what it looks in the video. I'm just gonna tell you that. Definitely need two people to do this. You gotta put a lot of pressure on there to get the tape around there. I know some guys said they used, on Trigan said they used electrical tape so they could just rip it instead of have to cut filament tape, but this is what I had. Key thing here is to make sure all these are lined up really well and they're just a little bit off, and I'm gonna tighten them up once I get some saran wrap on here. Make sure your butt ends are pretty tight right there, that everything's kind of lined up together. And you're gonna have to tape in a lot of places because you got the wedge number one, there's some gaps that were there. that bend's really tough. You got to kind of pull back on the pressure strip here, okay? So what I'm going to do is get another piece of saran wrap, lay over this, then the air hose is going to go on, then we're going to put the top part of the clamp on, and hopefully everything's going to fit. All right, we've got the plastic wrap on. I'm going to lay this in here. Lay it flat on there. I'm going to make sure this is lined up as best I can. All right, we get the top part of the mold. Again, check everything. Nothing sliding out. I'm just gonna double check, make sure nothing's sliding out here. Making sure my hose is even all the way down. Kind of tedious, I will say that. All right, I'm gonna pump this up to 60 psi. It's 155. Just add a little weight to the top where it's working with heat over here, and it's 4:30, so we're gonna give it till about 8:30 tonight, 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight, and we will turn it off and let it cool down overnight. All right, so yesterday I got the limbs all glued together, put them in the form, put them in the heat box, let it go for a little over 4 hours. Came out here last night, turned it off, and just let it cool down to room temp. Had to work all day, so I'm kind of excited to see what it looks like. So let's open this up and see what we got here. All right. Get it over here in my vise. Let's see here. Oh, those are tight. Guess some epoxy must have got in there. Wow, so I'm gonna need some leverage here.
Okay. You need to let the air out of the hose first?
Yes. Yeah, I gotta take the air out of the hose. See if that's any better. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, let the air out of the hose first, guys.
Sometimes you just need your way.
I guess so. All right. Let's see here. Slide this one now. Okay. All right, that wasn't too bad. Down here, let's get all this. I have to cut all this tape off now. Okay, here's another step. It's not like the video. It took a good bit of effort to get this thing loose. And in the video, at this point, the limb just popped right out because now everything's off the top of that limb, And we still have, there was a sheet of plastic underneath this limb. So in theory, the epoxy shouldn't have glued to it, but I ripped a bunch of stuff off and this thing's kind of like stuck in there and I'm not sure how to get this out. I may have to get something to pry it loose with, I guess. I don't know. This doesn't popping off, you know, like the video showed. So I got out on Track Gang, posted a question to these guys out there. They're really helpful guys out there. And they basically said, okay, look, looks like you did everything right, but this epoxy's coming out, got stuff stuck together pretty good. And what they suggested was to take a rubber hammer or mallet here and kind of try to pull this up and just tap on this to get it free. I'm gonna tap here gently here, see if I can. Ah, it is coming loose, it is coming loose, it is coming loose. Just gonna. So I guess this tapping here wasn't the way, it was tapping this way to get it loose. Let's see if we can pry this thing up. There we go. Oh yeah, that was the key. That was the key. See, those guys are great. All right. So there you go. Get the rest of this plastic stuff off of here, and the first limb has been laminated. We do have a lot of excess glue we're gonna have to work off in the next step. Just kind of looking over this, and looks like everything. I don't see any gaps in it, best I can tell. So. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and do the next limb now, but that's our first limb. So obviously we're going to have to clean up this mold and get it ready for the next one. So awesome. So hang in there, hit that like and subscribe, and we'll show you the next step when I get to it.